you guys to pop on, but I'm prompted with the Lord concerning the access. I'm prompted with the Lord concerning access and the treasure and what the key is to greater access. The greater access of higher dimensions in Him, and the greater access, concerning the era that we're stepping into, the greater authority, the greater access. And, I'm incredibly moved today and felt radically prompted to hop on and to encourage God's people, because there's a great access being released right now, and there's been a difficulty in God's people concerning navigation. And I'm getting to something here because, I'm moved. I'm incredibly moved by the grace of God to steer a strategy into His people when all of hell tries to block the GPS to the greater latter years and to the greater latter dimensions. And that time is now. The greater latter dimension is now. The latter dimension of His greater, of the things that no eye has seen or no ear has heard. And we have shifted as a corporate body into this era, right now. And He released to me the key to unlock this dimension is it's a key of faith. And these dimensions are only going to be accessed by a greater faith. And that's such a cliche thing to say, okay, well, what do? Do we just sit here and just believe that we just sit here in stillness and we just believe that we are entering in? And the answer is yes. I was radically moved last night because, I was pressing in intercession. And I was like, well, Lord, why is there this wall, to the deeper depths, and I've been incredibly deep. I've been in the deep of God for a while. I've been in the deep of God for a really long time. But I want to go beyond. I've desired to go farther so that I can reach that access to take God's people with me and to show them that it's possible and to show them what that looks like and how to get there. So I've been pushing beyond my natural means to go into the supernatural realm of God on the earth. And I've desired to push beyond what others have not yet tapped into so that I can help usher in the sons and daughters in this era. And I was sitting there listening to the Lord, and He says, you have to have awe. You have to have wonder. You have to have the reverence of faith to come into the deep. He said it will not be accessed any other way. You have to sit with a childlike wonder, and imagination is going to be the springboard to the deeper realms of God. The imagination and the childlike wonder, the childlike belief, when you sit there with your eyes closed, it cannot be by logic. It cannot be how we've done things before, how we've sat with the Lord before and pressed in. It cannot be that way. And the Lord was speaking to me, and He said, you will have to imagine your way through it. You will have to imagine your way through these depths, through these doors. You will have to stretch far beyond your imagination, and it will require innocence. It will require childlikeness. And in that, the breakthrough of who you were created to be will be the key that unlocks the greater ladder access. You guys got to get this. You guys got to get this, because this is a turning point for His people. This is a turning point for His people. And the only access is going to be by a greater measure of childlike faith, where you will have to sit in silence with the Lord, and you will have to usher in his glory by a childlike imagination, by a posture of childlike awe, and see yourself walk through his corridors, see yourself walk through the upper room, see yourself walk up to his throne chair and sit on his lap. You will have to imagine, you will have to explore the realms of your imagination to go into these deeper encounters. So I want to encourage you right now. You know, there's just such a radical, tangible access. And yeah, there were attacks last night. There was radical dreams. I woke up at 2 a.m. with I don't use the word paranormal because that's just so new age like, but there was just so many shadows and doors shutting and closing in this dream that I had. And you know, it was concerning the soul of someone that I'm connected to, and it was concerning the souls of God's people, and I just saw massive just different people, but the Lord was bringing me through their soul realm, and I was seeing the chaos of the souls of these people, non-believers and believers, and I saw the doors, things flying out of their doors, and things, images in their doors. And, the Lord's just doing a crazy, reconstructive work on the soul. And he has to do that to clean things out for this latter dimension. But back to what I was saying, you guys just have to be at a posture level, at a greater level to stretch your imagination, because that's what's going to be the vehicle for your breakthrough. That's what's going to be your vehicle to the breakthrough, to stretch you and to get the strategy, the blueprint, and the answers. You guys are going to have to get out of the shallow end, and you're going to have to dive into the depths of your imagination with the Lord. As you cultivate his presence, as you sit with his presence, you're going to have to stretch your imagination, and that's going to be the key that unlocks eternity. And this is going to cause you to walk in the supernatural divinity, the supernatural, eternity of God in your waking life. This isn't just about, a cliche Christianity. God is causing his people to inhabit heaven on earth. He is causing his people to inhabit his kingdom, living in his kingdom with your mind, living in his kingdom with your heart, living in his kingdom by spirit, walking in spirit while you're in earth. It is a habitation. It is going to be a shift of your whole life, your whole world, your whole perception of you coming out of living, out of normalcy, out of the way the world moves and lives, and the way that we've just lived in this two-part world of society and kingdom. He's doing away with that with his people, and he's causing his people right now to live in his wonder on this earth and be the living, walking throne rooms so that we can win souls. It's like when we confront people and we come before humanity, they will be confronted with a realm and a dimension of who God is and his person, and they will be radically transformed, because it will be an encounter with God. It won't just be a discipleship of a conversion of, hey, non-believer, or hey, prodigal son, let me preach the gospel to you and hope you come to know him. No, this will be the most radical era of the harvest of souls, because we're walking in God dimensions before man and before humanity. So we really have to just get beyond our kiddie pool. Okay, I'm just gonna be really raw with that. We have to get beyond our shallow end and our kiddie pools and our floaties of just waiting and dog paddling, on the shallow end. And we have to truly be risk takers, because, those that aren't ready to risk this, those that aren't ready to dive, those that aren't ready to go into this fully submerged, you will end up empty, because God's not going to be in the shallow end. You will not receive. No one in the kiddie pool will receive in this era. It will almost be like, whoa, God, where did you go? It will almost be like, okay, there's nothing here, a vacancy, a utter vacancy. God's demanding a choice. God's demanding a radical yes. God's demanding it's either the depths or nothing. It's either far stretched and beyond, or I'm simply not going to be there. Period. End of story. That's it. And I'm disturbed by the holiness of God today, because I cannot go beyond this reality of where God's bringing us all. And we have to be ready to just dump, to just dive. We have to just go, and we have to sit there and say, okay, hey, Lord, because you're requiring me to imagine. There's a wall here because you're requiring me to stretch. You're requiring me to go beyond where we've never gone before. So I want to bless you guys with that today, that you will sit with the Lord and explore your imagination in the heart of His presence, in the heart of His glory, and that you would drop all carnality, all mind, all thoughts. You would just drop that, and you will just explore in His presence today, and that you would allow that to break through depths of you that you've never known were inside of your wells, depths in you that you never knew were inside of your rivers, and that you would allow the new lane for the stream to counteract. You will allow the new lane for the stream to begin to enter into, that you would allow the stream to begin to just shift into that new lane inside of your belly, and let it penetrate the new lane inside of your heart, and you will just surrender, and that you would just yield with an abandonment, that you would yield with an abandonment and say, okay, wherever you desire to take my imagination, God, I yield it to you. I yield these depths to you, and I completely surrender. I completely surrender, where you desire to take my being, where you desire to take my origin in this era, in this time. And just let that be your posture. Let that be where you are, where you are with Him. And just be abandoned and totally bankrupt in His glory, because that's the vehicle. That's the vehicle. Okay, so I didn't want to be long, but I wanted to bless you with that and encourage you with that, because He's moving into greater things, and greater dependency, where you have to trust, where there's nothing for you to hold on to. There's nothing. There's literally nothing. You're like a naked infant, so to speak, in a realm of vulnerability. Though you are a seasoned believer, the realm of your trust is like an infant naked in a street looking for its mother or its father. That is the vulnerability of trust that the Father is drawing us into right now. It's where all of our means are stripped. All of them are stripped. And you have to sit there and trust and desire to walk with Him, knowing that your atmosphere is His omnipresence and His omnipotence. So I bless you with greater strength, and I bless you with a greater vitality, and I bless your inner man. I want to bless your inner man, and I want to speak life to your inner man. I want to speak awakening to your inner man. I want to prophesy to your inner man that what was sleeping would awaken to the greater heights of God. I want to speak right now to your frame, and I want to speak to the identity of you as a son and as a daughter. And I want to prophesy identity over you. I want to prophesy fresh new motivation. I want to prophesy fresh new hunger and inspiration, a fresh deeper undoing, where you would radically be undone by the emotional. Yes, God is emotional, and you cannot be vacant of emotion, because he will grab and eradicate the emotion of the heart. And that's what grips your heart. It's the compelling emotion of God. It's the compelling compassion of God. You see, he's moving his people by emotion in this era, and it will not be by striving or performance or by works or by ministry or just by prayer and supplication or reading of the word. He is grabbing hold of the chambers of his people, and he is shaking your emotion, and he is pulling and tugging on the cords of your heart, and he is pulling you into a vast realm of to feel and to experience, to feel and to encounter, to feel and to radically be moved by who he is. It's like an art when you go to a gallery and you see, and you're incredibly moved by a piece, and something connects with you as you stare in awe at this art piece in this gallery, and something connects with you, and it pulls on your soul, and it pulls on who you are. It's just like that moment. God is pulling on connection inside of you. He's pulling on that connection. He's pulling on what connects with you, and he's bringing things that connect with your soul, and he's bringing things in that connect with you on a level that only he can connect to in that realm of imagination. And that's how you're going to connect with the Lord, is he's going to begin to awaken your imagination and speak in parables and speak in images where you're like, wow, Lord, that's peculiar, but it lines up with your language. It lines up with your language. I'll be brief, but last night I had an experience with him, and it was very interesting. I was, exercising the imagination, and the Father brought me to, his corridors, his upper chambers in heaven, and he was winding up my back. I was a ballerina in this vision, and I was in this very childlike encounter, and he was like a ballerina that she would wind up her back and she would dance on a music box. He was winding up my back in a rhythm, and it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he was winding up my back. And as he released me, I began to dance. And as I danced, this imagery of abstract, this abstract dimension began to flow all around me, and it was childlike, and it was almost like a romance ballroom, and I was still this ballerina, and there was the wound up back on my back. And as I danced on this ballroom floor, the Father came as a lion, and he took my hand and he danced with me, and it was almost like you see like in a masquerade type of like fantasy image, but the Father was dancing with his daughter, and he was awakening a dance, and he was awakening a song, and he was awakening a realm of intimacy and romance with his daughter. And I just use this to just stretch you right now, because that I was like, Lord, this is very different, and I wasn't used to seeing him work with me in that type of communication. So with that said, I just want to just encourage you to just allow him to take you out of your box. Take you out of your box. Amen. I hope that was encouraging to you. So I bless you guys today, and just feel free to go back and listen to this. This will be on my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed already, please go and do so. This will be there, but also on the page for you to go back to. But God blessings to you, and go beyond. Hallelujah. Amen.